Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sky Lila Experience. Today we have Sky Lila as our guest speaker. Wow, shocker. It's been a hot minute since I've done a solo episode. Life has been beautifully, incredibly abundant, and I've been back at home in Canada throughout the summer months, and now I'm back in London to my regular routine. And what I've been studying a lot, and what I've been studying for a long time, is neuroscience. And what we're going to be talking about today is the science behind manifestation. So neuroscience and quantum physics. Manifestation isn't just vision boards and affirmations. Science. From neuroscience to quantum physics. It's showing us why our thoughts, emotions, and energy influence the reality we experience. So what I've had trouble explaining in the past was what's actually occurring behind manifestation, which is why I think the majority and why it seems woo-woo is because we don't understand the science behind it. So there's pioneers like Joe Dispenza, who studies neuroscience and meditation, Dr. Bruce Lipton, biology of belief, and Dr. John Wheeler, quantum physics and the observer effect. If you've heard about any of these studies, I'm going to touch on them in a little bit. So science and spirituality are not opposites, but different languages describing the same truth. And that is what I have been studying, and how they correlate together, or how they're simply the same thing, but literally just in a different language. It's the same thing is happening. Manifestation, or say the spiritual side, I find people perhaps are more... You have more of a faith perspective towards it because it's more of an intuitive response. You just know that this is true. And the science it's laid out right in front of you, and then you believe. But the reality of the situation is it's all still true, which I talk about gravity. When it comes to gravity, it's like, okay, well, way back in the day, people used to believe in gravity and some didn't believe in gravity. It doesn't really matter your belief. It's still true. Gravity is still in action. It's still there. Same thing as manifestation. I think the word has a certain connotation towards it, but that same thing is happening. Where your focus goes, energy flows. So I want to start with the neuroscience of manifestation. Excusez-moi. Neuroplasticity is when the brain rewires itself based on repeated thought and emotion. So for example, London taxi drivers grow larger hippocampy spatial memory center through repeated navigation. So what you repeatedly imagine and feel is literally reshapes your brain. I use this, I don't say neuroplasticity a lot, I say mind-muscle connection in a lot of my fitness classes, because each time you are working out a muscle and focusing on that muscle, you're strengthening the neurological pathway from your brain to muscle. Same thing with music. You're creating new neurological pathways, or a language, whatever it might be. It's all the same. You're creating a new path in your brain, or you're strengthening that path in your brain the more you repeat it. The only difference, at least from my perspective, once I learn more, I'll tell you more. But for now, with manifestation, is you're doing it before. You're doing it in your mind first, in your brain first, before it happens, say, in reality. But the trick is, your brain doesn't know what's in front of your eyes or what's just inside your mind. That's, excuse me, I'm healing from something. That's what it's all about. That's the trick. And you can work smarter by manifesting, as opposed to harder in the outside world. It's like you can sharpen the saw from both edges if you do the inner work and the outer work, not just one or the other. That's the whole point. Is most people who think about manifestation is, oh, well, if you just sit on a couch and manifest, like nothing happens. It's like, no, of course not. But, well, maybe, I don't know. My throat's really coming up as I'm speaking here, but I guess maybe because I'm speaking. So there's another part that's called RAS, the reticular activating system. It's funny because we just spoke about this on a podcast earlier today, Laura Armstrong and I. It's when your brain filters millions of bits of data to show you only what you've trained it to notice. It's more of a subconscious thing though. So, for example, when you set an intention to manifest a job, you suddenly notice opportunities, conversations, or posts that you would have scrolled past before. You're just more aware of it. Or say, interesting. Sorry, this throat thing's really coming up right now. For example, my friend who was pregnant, or if you're thinking about babies, or you have a baby, you start seeing babies everywhere. They're everywhere. There's strollers everywhere, pregnant bellies, whatever it might be. My car, before I bought a Tesla, I thought about this thing for 4 years, you guys. I was just so focused with it. Crazy to think I've already had it for 5 years. It goes so fast. But I was seeing white Teslas everywhere, and it was like, okay, it's coming, because this is ridiculous. They're just everywhere. Every second car is a white Tesla. Model 3, which is what I wanted. So where energy flows, that's where your attention goes. / vice versa. Where attention goes, energy flows. So focus on what you want. Simple as that. Emotional encoding. Thoughts become sticky when paired with strong emotion. So gratitude, excitement. And there's research by Barbara Fredrickson on broaden and build theory. So positive emotion expands perception, allowing new ideas and solutions. Think and Grow Rich, a book by Napoleon Hill, and Tony Robbins does this a lot with priming, is you pair your kind of visualization, what you want in your mind, with an emotion as well, which I've realized I didn't do for a long time. Or like, you can do your affirmations, but then actually close your eyes, say the words, visualize it, but then feel the emotion that's happening. Sometimes I come out of one of these meditations or visualizations crying because something was so beautiful. My mom called me once right after I finished a meditation. Whenever she said, "What's up?" And I had just finished visualizing my wedding, because I used to feel so much kind of like stress or worry about wanting this thing to be perfect, when it's like, well, you don't even have, at the time I didn't even have a man yet. But I just thought, well, I'm going to kickstart like kind of this thing so it moves it up in the timeline if I start to think about it. But then also when you pair it with emotion, because you've just experienced it inside your brain and your body and your heart, there's less yearning for it because you've just experienced it. So it's like, okay, time to move on. What else? We'll go on with our day, because that was so beautiful. Sometimes, honestly, I'm like, I don't even need to have a wedding anymore. I already did inside my head. It was beautiful. I loved it. Everything's great. I do that with a lot. You know what? We're just going to keep on going. Then there's mirror neurons. So similar to visualization, where it activates the same neural pathways as actual practice. I've done some studies about this. I wish I had it to bring it up, but where even if you work out, like train your muscles in your brain, I think it does something like 30 to 40% of if you were to actually train it in real life. So that being said, yes, obviously it's not the same as 100% physically moving your muscles. But if you were incapable of moving your body, you could still get 40% of the benefits just by doing it inside your head. How wild is that? I forget what the study was. I listen to all these things all the time, so I don't necessarily remember. But athletes use visualization all the time. Michael Phelps visualized every swim race in detail, even obstacles like broken goggles. So when it happened in real life, his brain and body knew how to respond. Like, just give it a go. It honestly works. Every single person that I've done Master Your Mindset with, there's not one person, I mean, unless you're not giving me honest feedback, that has said that was not helpful. I have the best responses for the past, I don't even know how many years I've been doing it now. 6, 7 with people. Wow, that flies by. Everyone was like, wow, guess what? And I'm like, well, I'm not surprised. Like, this is how it works. It's a proven tool that, like, this is how the universe works, you guys. Okay, so now, I'm so sorry. Quantum physics of manifestation. I freaking love quantum physics. It's so cool. So there's the observer effect, which there's been a double slit experiment, if you've heard about this one before, where particles behave like waves until observed, and then they collapse into a specific form. So our attention shapes the outcome. There's a quote from physicist John Wheeler: "We are participants in bringing into being not only the near and here, but the far away and long ago." So this double slit experiment was really fascinating. Basically, it's like nothing happened until it was observed. Then the particles chose where to go. Otherwise, there's limitless possibilities. Just research some quantum physics. Listen to like science podcasts. I'm just trying to give you a little bit of everything. And then there's frequency and vibration. So Nikola Tesla says, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Because that's literally all we are, you guys, when you actually think about it. And this is what trips me up every day, because I'm right now looking around my living room thinking, this is just my perception that's making all of these things whole. If there was another being who saw the universe in a different frequency, I have no idea what this could look like, because everything in this room, in this universe, is just tiny little molecules and particles of vibrating energy. It's so cool. Sorry, I got a bit carried away with it. So there's an example. Heart Math Institute shows that gratitude and love create coherent heart rhythms, influencing brain and body, and measurable in electromagnetic fields around us, like dogs. Dogs can be quite healing. There's been experiments where dogs like lay around their owner's tumor and then the tumor starts to heal. Or if you just be around somebody you love. It's like mathematics. 2 times 2 equals 4. Like love times love equals extra love. Should have made that one up, but honestly, I think it's true. You're just... Oh, and then there's the ocean... Oh, man, I just sent this to a friend. The water experiment. It's wild because all day my voice has been pretty good. When I taught a class this morning, it was like this, and then now that I'm doing this, it's like this. Life's weird sometimes, you guys. The water experiment. There was an experiment done when a Japanese man spoke into cups of water, jars of water, 5 different words. One was gratitude, love, peace, and then negative ones like I hate you or just bad words. And the difference between, then the water was frozen, or it wasn't, but you just zoomed into the molecule and the shape form of the water molecule. The positive words were these beautiful crystal structures, symmetrical, just incredible. And then the negative words were like broken and jagged and just icky, you know? So when I even think about drinking my food or my water or my tea, I'll extend it love, because I know that the way that I'm about to drink it and how it goes through my body is going to be different, and how I absorb it is going to be different. There's superposition and possibility. So kind of like the double slit experiment as well. Schrodinger's cat thought experiment. There's infinite possibilities exist until observed. Okay, I had a trippy one. Now this is just my mind, but these are what I'm wondering. I was walking in London when I first got here, and I was really feeling like some fish and chips because I hadn't had fish and chips yet. And I thought, I probably should. I'm in England, and that's kind of a thing here. But if I was in New York, I'd probably want like a New York bagel. Anyways, I turned the corner. There's this random fish and chip shop in the middle of this, just one pop-up shop. And I thought, wow, if I had wanted a bagel, would that have been a bagel shop? You know? How do we know? How do we know? I also think about it often as if life's a video game. And you know how sometimes right in front of you, you only see, I don't really play video games, I don't at all, but you're moving in a scene and everything's clear, but then you turn the corner and the game hasn't loaded fast enough, so then it quickly goes from little blocks and it forms into reality, and then you're playing the game again and it's loaded. Often I wonder if life is like that, where what we're observing right now is clear, but then when we turn the corner, is it all just kind of coming into form right then? Who knows? Well, hopefully that's not too much of an interruption. So manifestation is the act of collapsing the probability wave into one chosen reality through focus. I'm going to say that again. Manifestation is the act of collapsing the probability wave into one chosen reality through focus. Basically, anything is possible right now. Choose something to focus on, then that's what will come into your reality. Quantum entanglement. Oh, this sounds so cool. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. I think it's so cool. So it's two particles remain connected across time and space. Suggests intention and connection can influence outcomes beyond immediate reach. So basically, two particles, like light years away, okay, maybe we haven't measured that, but really far away, because there's been experiments where it's not like one particle sets off a vibration and then like the drop of water in a puddle and then the butterfly effect. It's not like that where it influences something later on, but really quickly. It's simultaneously that these two particles across a major amount of distance and space, time and space, are interacting together. So, for an example, people thinking of each other at the same time, synchronicities, may be entanglement in action. I used to play around with this idea of say even when I had an idea to make a painting, I would wonder, is it my idea? Or am I potentially entangled? Is this thought entangled with somebody where they would like a painting of this, and then I'm thinking, I'll make a painting of this, and that's what's entangled. I don't know, I think about it regularly and how it could, kind of how I could seize that or work with it. That's really why I'm sharing about all this science, is because I personally am always trying to work with science and go, okay, if I can understand quantum physics and neuroscience better, how can I kind of hack life and make things work for me quicker? And not saying necessarily just for me, but how can I be more aligned in my life so I can serve the world better? It's all intertwined. So why this works, it's not magic, it's alignment. That's what I'm trying to express, in that it's not this make-believe thing and just have faith and believe, but understand, actually align with the science. Once it clicks, then you're like, oh, okay, my words are very important. My thoughts are very important. The way I think towards myself, the way I think towards others. I notice so much judgment in myself, just tiny little things. And it's like, oh, I'd like to believe I'm not a judgmental person, but there's tiny little spurts of judgment, and they're not big ones, they're just little, but I'm like, oh, that's judgment. How can I release that trained pattern that society has taught us? Because judgment is sort of resistance towards something, and I don't want any resistance in life. I want to be completely in the flow, in alignment with my higher purpose, what I'm here to do. So it's constantly kind of trimming the fat while like cleaning out your system while also putting in the good stuff. So using your brain to focus and emotion can change perception, behavior, and choices. And for energy, it's coherent thoughts and feelings resonate with matching experiences. You know, like if you're having a bad day, everything's bad because you're in that negative and low frequency. But if you're having a great day, then everything's freaking incredible. So that's why in the mornings, even still, sometimes I will fake a smile and be like, okay, today's the best day of my life, because I know how I set that day up is going to influence the rest of the day, and it is my control to do so. I can't blame anyone else for how my day goes. There's a quote from Joe Dispenza that I like and listen to every day in his meditations is, your personality creates your personal reality. Your personality creates your personal reality, which is true. When I'm feeling good and I'm in my have the best day of your life every day, no joke, everyone towards me, they'll send a message, even on my birthday. The amount of have the best day of your life on my birthday I receive, incredible. For example, too, people who visualize and feel gratitude before an interview perform differently because they show up more open, confident, and magnetic. They're not afraid because they've already done it. It's just like rehearsing. You're just rehearsing in your mind. A few ways to integrate this into your life. Sorry. Well, having a moment. Okay, practical integration for you and your life. Tiny little things. So visualization with emotion. Don't just see it, but actually feel it. So imagine holding the book you wrote, smelling the pages, feeling joy. Your brain thinks it's real, wiring pathways towards it. So this was like the wedding that I had in my mind. It was great. It was a really great time. Or even public speaking. Not just necessarily getting up on stage and presenting and being anxious, but doing it. But speaking in a way that feels comfortable and peaceful and empowering, and how the audience responds. You can visualize that, because then it's not so freaky, because you're like, okay, I already know what's going to happen here. Daily practice, journaling, meditation, affirmations as rehearsals for your future self. Affirmations, you guys, are not just words. They're shifting your belief systems. And certain belief systems have different frequencies, and frequency is what shapes your reality. So it starts with an affirmation. And the more you just affirm something to yourself, the more you begin to believe it, which is then what you're basically just brainwashing yourself. Oh, a great example. Jim Carrey wrote himself a $10 million check for acting services rendered when he was broke, and he used to go up to, he was living in LA at the time, go up to some, I don't know, high part in the city, and he'd stand out, he'd open his arms, and he'd just embrace, and he would receive from the universe. And then years later, from, I think it was Dumb and Dumber, and I don't know, maybe The Mask he did that year. There were two big movies. I think he received $10 million for Dumb and Dumber, though, within the date that he wrote the check out for, that it was due. It's incredible. And sometimes, say even moving to London, okay, I was a little bit behind schedule, but not much. Like, I still made it happen. About my car, that one actually moved up the timeline. I thought it would take me way longer. And then when I did the math, it was like, oh, okay, actually, this is totally doable. Aligned action. So manifestation, it's not just sitting on the couch. Yes, sit on the couch and visualize and meditate. That's your brain priming you for action, but then you still have to go out and do the thing. But it just... squeaky wheel gets the oil. It's kind of like manifesting. You're pouring your oil on, so then when you go open the door, slide the glass door, it slides smoothly. Oprah says, luck is preparation, meeting opportunity. Oh, okay, we're going to wrap it up soon because my throat is just... wow, sorry about that, you guys. Being in an elevated state, or Tony Robbins calls it a peak state, health math studies did an experiment that shows that 5 minutes of gratitude shifts your HRV, so your heart rate variability, into coherence, which influences health, stress, and emotional resilience. So your state is the broadcast. So align yourself before you act, because just how you show up is going to influence the outcome. You can set intentions, or before I do a podcast, interview, whatever it is, I do actually practice from an acting class where you inhale and kind of lift your chest up, stand tall, exhale, walk through the door, and you visualize your hand opening these 2 big double doors, and then you enter a room. And if you can't do that physically because people are around you, then you just mentally do it. But I often do this, and I walk in, and I've had a new intention for this space. All in all, you guys, manifestation is not mystical stuff. It's neurobiology and quantum possibility working together. How cool is that? If your thoughts and emotions are creating your reality, what future are you rehearsing today? Even I need to catch myself for that regularly. There are lots of thoughts that I cancel, because our brains are wired for survival. We have to train it to think in abundance and thriving. But once you do, then the neurological pathway will be stronger. You don't have to be a scientist to use this. You don't have to be super woo-woo to give it a go, but every visualization, every elevated emotion, every small step towards alignment is literally shaping the quantum field around you. Like an aura. Whether you believe it or not, we are vibrating balls of energy, and we emit frequencies. Einstein said, you guys, imagination is everything. It is the preview of life's coming attractions. Say it in the Bible. First there was the word. First there was the thought. Just start thinking the reality that you want. And as life changes, you might notice that you're not quite there. 1, you'll never be there. But 2, and it's all about the becoming of who you are. 2, you might actually be there to the extent that you have put it out in the world. So oftentimes, what was there one example? Oh, speaking in schools. I wasn't advancing with that goal because I had hit my goal. I didn't up the goal then. It's like have a pipeline of goals for yourself, just like you do for sales, whatever it might be. Have a pipeline of goals and visualization for yourself. So once you get to something that's achievable, you can up it. But also remember to maintain peace and joy throughout the journey, because that's what life's about. We hear it all the time, but like seriously, you've got 80 to 120 years max to enjoy your time. Just enjoy it. But also work on being better. Okay, I love you so much. Have the best day ever. Let me know if you have any questions. Also, fun fact, I'm looking into going back to school for neuroscience because it's so cool. Okay, bye.